Good evening, my name's Alex Campbell.
And my name's Stephen Wilson.
And you're watching the 7th episode of Discussing Stargate.
So, we've got a Jack episode now, a character backstory episode.
We do.
Which is the first opening shot and our alien location for the episode is actually probably one of the most alien locations we'll ever see in the entire thing.
I like the fact that they went to the effort of creating something different. It wasn't another Canadian pine forest.
What they were missing is like in the background of the yellow desert is just some pine trees dotted on the horizon.
Yeah, I guess it was a set. There were parts of the sand when I was looking at it, and I'm not sure whether it was a set they assembled. And I was also trying to figure out whether like the color, because the colors the sky is very blue, the sand is very yellow. Whether that was something that they tried to do on set, or whether it was just digital grading later on in editing. And I'm not sure, maybe a combo?
Yeah, I think, well, I don't know. I really think that at least the first opening shot where you see the sort of wide shots and they're on the sand dunes or whatever, I think that is like a desert.
Yeah.
Then they've colour graded it. Unless they've gone like a patch of desert and they've spray painted it yellow.
Yeah.
So you have your sort of wide shots and then you have I think the shots in the pit with all the crystals might be
it could be location, set, actual practical.
The close-up ones are a set, right? Because you can see the yellow sand grains are like bigger.
Yeah, and the way the dune connects into the ground looks setty.
But you know, so it looks good.
Yeah, they went to the time and effort of creating something different.
Crystals. Granite, not volcanic. I don't see any that aren't broken.
Well, these pieces might fit together.
Well, the crystals are really cool.
Yeah, I really like the idea of this alien being a crystal, not just another humanoid like Star Trek The Next Generation type thing. It's a new alien and he's got little bumps on his forehead.
Little bumps on his forehead.
It's a new alien, he's got little bumps on it. He's a new alien and he's a human with little bumps on his forehead.
But in saying that, and you know, that's indicative again of, I guess, the first like 2 to 3 seasons. You see a lot of stuff that's a lot more different than what we end up getting much later in the series. Which I don't know, you know, I guess is a trade-off, but certainly the quality of the show increases as after you get past that bit. So yeah, it's kind of something happened in the middle there.
I think a lot of sci-fi would benefit from doing a lot of different aliens, like gas clouds and stuff, silicon type fucking weird shit. And this was in that vein. There are some tension-filled moments, like the first opening shot, a few of the other Jack moments, where the music was really cool and really like eerie and creepy and tension-filled. And then the emotional moments had really horribly cliche minor scale piano. It was like playing off the theme.
Yeah, so it was like twisting the theme and stuff.
Just putting a few flat notes in there. So yeah, there were a few moments I'm like, wow, this is really cool, interesting. Like a type of and weird. And then it just cut to the cliche stuff. A lot of emotional scenes for me. I think the music breaks me.
Yeah.
With New Who, the latest season, just like all the emotional scenes are just like cliche minor piano.
This is what you should be feeling.
Every time. You can't do anything else.
Well, so, and definitely I expressed this to you, my feelings about this episode in particular. Because I've watched all the seasons, you know, heaps of times, and after like my first or second viewing of the whole thing, I just started skipping it. I find you know, because it's important, like its backstory and stuff like that for one of our main characters. But there are heaps of cringe moments. Well, so you've got what two plots, I guess.
Yeah, the subplot with Carter, Jackson, Tilt, and then the main O'Neill plot.
The main O'Neill backstory, sort of filling in the blanks sort of thing. And what it reeks to me is, well, it's a couple of things. Is that, first and foremost, technically you're not actually seeing the character deal with it.
Yeah.
He deals with it at the end, or the trauma, which is the main drive of...
For 5 minutes or so.
For 5 minutes, so we've vicariously dealt with all the trauma through this person.
Yeah.
And it's weird because he's not acting like a normal person, which makes sense for what they've done. But everybody else is treating him as if he is acting fine. There's nothing weird going on. And, you know, that can be fine. They sort of go, oh, we don't really know, or whatever. We haven't known Jack for this long. But you can't say that about his wife or his ex-wife. And it's funny, and this is not like a critique, but this is just an observation.
Yeah.
And like 2 or 3 seasons from now, if he'd been acting the way he was, they'd be like, he's possessed. Yeah. He's an alien or something.
It's funny in the context of like a sci-fi show. He's sending up red flags.
Yeah.
But I think about the reality, like if my partner came home and she acted like that, I wouldn't be like, she's a motherfucking alien! Kill her! I'd be like, she had a stroke? Or...
in the middle of having a stroke.
And there are a few moments where she's like, what the fuck? He brings up Charlie and she's like, no. But then she kind of eases into like his autism and she kind of likes it because he's expressing his emotions now. And he's really off kilter and she doesn't sort of know what to expect. I think all the stuff in the base when he left was fine because he's a stoic, cynical kind of guy.
Yeah.
And he blows Carter off and he blows Till
Well, they
off.
said, you know, he doesn't talk much and blah, blah, blah.
So I think that all worked, but maybe she should have been a bit more. Are you okay?
When he goes to her house initially and she's working on the car or something, and she like freaks out because he's like, "Where's that dead son? Where's that dead son?" It's like, "What are you doing here?" But then like the father immediately comes out and starts treating him normally. We go through this whole process where he's saying all these weird things and he's acting really weird. Yeah. And that's fine, you know. I guess the characters must think, oh well, he's dealing with the trauma and he's dealing with this and he's having like a mental breakdown or something. Yeah. So that's fine, I guess.
Jack, what are you doing? You're scaring me.
It's important, Sarah. Charlie!
Don't! Let go of me. What the hell is wrong with you? Is this your idea of a joke? Just get away from me.
Sarah. Don't understand.
Yeah, it just becomes kind of cringeworthy, I guess, at least for me, anyway.
I definitely, those scenes are definitely there for me. I don't know if maybe you don't like that stuff more than me. Overall, I think the episode was kind of alright, good. Those moments definitely do bring it down, especially the piano moments for me.
I mean, obviously the core concepts, the whole crystal subplot and what they're talking about. Yeah, it's like the pit in the desert with all the broken crystals is like an execution burial mass grave, which is really cool fucking cool. Yeah, you know, we get a bit more insight in the goal they're going through, and like the alien's motivations for what he's doing. It all makes sense.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. He misunderstood Jack's pain. He injured him, and then he searched his mind, and he's seen his most painful moment was that emotional moment. This episode is about Jack's son, and he obviously blew his head off. So he searches him, he's like, oh, this is your pain. And he goes back to try and fix that. Misunderstanding that that's not the pain that he caused.
So it's basically a full misunderstanding. And also the fear of being discovered, and because he saw that the alien saw that O'Neill was like a warrior, so he thought that if he'd been discovered or that he'd hurt him, then they'd execute him. Yeah,
and the Goa'uld had brutally murdered them all.
Yeah, so it all fits together and it's really brutal. I mean, so I'd say that the flashback scenes with his son, it's half and half. Yeah, or maybe a little bit more, a little bit less.
There are a few really bad ones, like where Charlie's just like giving the thumbs up.
Yeah, he's like,
I thought I would find Charlie here.
When the moment they show when Charlie actually shoots himself, Jack and Sarah are sitting on the doorstep looking at his school photos.
Yeah.
It's like, Like, she could have been washing the dishes, he could have been shaving, it could have just been like a normal household thing, but no, they had to be sitting on the doorstep looking at a photo of their son going, isn't he so beautiful? He's bang! Oh shit! Charlie!
Oh, look who came home from school today.
Is Charlie about ready?
Yeah, he was running around here a few minutes ago.
Like, it is Jack's fault. Like, the whole thing. She's totally right to blame him because he leaves a fucking...
gun somewhere.
So, it was in a drawer?
Yeah.
I think, or something?
Yeah, in his room.
Yeah, unlocked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, under Charlie's pillow.
He left it on Charlie's bed.
Maybe that was a mistake.
Loaded.
Yeah,
Pull it in the chain bar, safety off.
It's always so fun to hear. Now, Charlie, don't you touch that gun. Bang!
It is a really brutal, fucked up concept. Like the idea of your kid killing himself with your gun, but you don't really get that in this episode.
No.
There are hints of it where you think that is really dark. Like when they go to the hospital at the end, he's like, this is where Charlie died.
Where we brought
and I get that moment of Charlie didn't die instantly.
No, he fucking...
Because he presumed he's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea of him not dying instantly.
Yeah, well, they're in the ambulance with their son who's fucking like shot himself.
Yeah, maybe it would have been better if we had seen more of that darker stuff rather than the cliched emotional stuff.
Well, that's what I said as well, is we didn't actually see the character really grapple with these issues.
It wasn't Jack.
It was all vicariously done. And so I guess, you know, it was exploring his relationships with everybody,
Sarah
and the father, and I guess the team, you know. But yeah, we're not getting it, and it's kind of, it's, you know, it's fine. You're doing something different, a different way to explore it. But then not quite handling it. We don't get a feel that the characters really dealing with it.
Yeah.
You said that Richard Dean Anderson didn't really like that whole backstory.
Yeah, well, coming into the show, he said that he wanted to kind of get that out of the way, so his character would be more upbeat and humorous. And this was the episode where his character like has that moment and moves past it.
Yeah.
And I think he was executive producer, so maybe he had some push in them doing that early on.
Yeah.
So, you know, he could be the upbeat, cynical, funny O'Neill. He didn't want to be Kurt Russell in the movie, just like fucking smoking, crying shit, which is fair enough.
Well, it's a complete fucking, like, it's a complete counter opposite to like how his personality is and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, technically Jack's got two backstories, right? He's got like traumatic backstories. He's got the sort of Black Ops crap that he did, which they explore, and is actually way more interesting than the son shooting himself. It's actually, they have more than they have a whole episode dedicated to it.
He had a team that died. Yeah, with Kowalski.
Well, and he relives that moment in
over and over again.
Which is a fucking great episode.
Yeah, and we get Jack actually having an emotional response to that past.
Yeah.
In this episode, we don't really get much of that at all.
Yeah,
a little bit at the end.
Yeah, so handled kind of.
Yeah, maybe a missed opportunity, I think.
I think so too, but you know, it's definitely not the worst thing you ever seen.
No, I think overall it's a good episode. The other elements kind of bring it back up.
Well, it's one of those things that they'll never really talk about again. I mean, how many times did they raise the sun thing? I think
2 or 3 in the next 9 seasons.
9 seasons, yeah.
And it's just like a comment.
Yeah, it's just, I know what it's like to feel lost or something.
My son's dead.
My son's dead.
Hello, Sarah.
Yeah, so as we said, we got the two plots, and I think actually, the whole Crystal subplot is the more interesting of the two.
Yeah, definitely.
Really. Again, they're both very brutal, but one's handled in the normal way, and the other one's a bit weird.
I like all the character moments with Tilk too, him looking at the TV and looking at the world,
discovering what the world is like.
And he tries to go out the end with his staff, and Hammond's like, "You can't take that." It's like, "I've seen the world. I know what it's like."
Brutal, fucking unforgiving world.
And even the moment where he like hands him the hat to cover his.
The Chicago, blah blah blah.
All those little moments are cute.
Chicago, the Windy City, home of the Blackhawks, the Bulls, and the White Sox.
Well, it's funny again because as we've said before about O'Neill showing Tilt the outside world, he actually like calls him out. Mind you, it's the alien that he's talking to.
Yeah.
But he calls him out on it. It's like, you said that you would show me the world. It's like, no. And then he keeps walking.
You look at Tilt's quarters too, and it looks really depressing.
Yeah.
Like stone walls, stone floor, colourless.
I can just imagine that like all the other team members, you know, they leave the base when they're done. They go home, and Tilt just sits on the bed, staring at a wall,
meditating.
And
Needs like a poster or something, some carpet.
A poster, the kitty cat hanging on the clothesline, hanging there.
A double bed.
Literally,
He's a big guy.
No,
I guess if you had a double bed though, his quarters would be tiny.
Yeah, well, it's all just bed.
Yeah. Opens the door, hits the bed, and doesn't open all the way. He needs to like shuffle in.
That's great. Yeah, so they're exploring all the crystal stuff. Again, another example. There's that where they're using the staff weapon to shoot the crystal in the gate room. That's a really great fucking scene because it's like multi-layered. It's another example of the sort of comedy things that Stargate does really well, as opposed to Stargate Origins, which
completely different.
Well, caricatures the comedy aspects. The way
the character is comedy.
Yeah.
Rather than little dry bits of humour.
It's very dry and it's not overburdening. So they have a really great where they shoot the crystal, which is a practical crystal.
Yeah.
They shoot it with the staff weapon, which is CGI. Yeah. And a practical explosion. Yeah. And then they cut and they look down and it's all the shattered crystal and stuff everywhere. And it looks great.
Here's a good one.
Yeah, and they're in the gate room, and old mate Walter's like, "What are you guys doing?" So he's like, "You got permission, didn't you?"
He's like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, we got permission.
And so that whole like little segment is just another great example of.
I love the fact too. This is actually science fiction. Like after watching Origins and watching Star Trek, fucking Discovery, going back into proper '90s sci-fi, you get Carter doing all the sci-fi stuff. They're actually figuring out solving a problem.
It's like
getting little pieces of the
detective
puzzle.
work, right? It's, the whole crystal subplot is all detective work. Yeah, they're like analysing the crystal. And, she's rattling off the techno babble. Yeah, and about all this sort of stuff. It's another funny example of the technology that the world could have used, that the world of the 90s could have used, where she does like this really complex simulation of like melting crystal and all this sort of stuff on like a DOS computer.
Since your energy weapons are the same as the ones the Poppins use, we can compare the blast marks on the two crystals.
Now, I'm telling the computer to build a simulation model. We should see if the energy signatures are the same or not.
I feel like that whole thing of sci-fi is dead now, because all sci-fi now is like action. Star Wars is action, the JJ movies are action, Discovery was action, Origins was...
Origins was like slapstick comedy and action. Well, it's the moment, it's the change of the type of momentum that's used, right? So if you look, it's again the sort of the two extremes of the spectrum would be Stargate Next Generation and the way that an episode unfolds, which is really slow when they're in the one static environment.
Dialogue based.
And then you've got the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, which you've got and it's really well done. Like in terms of
solid movie.
Well, you've got that scene where Kirk is running through the ship and they're doing the big long shows run through all the scenes, and it is good.
In Next Generation, that would have been in the ready room with Picard sitting down and talking to Riker and talking to Troy.
And so we'll definitely see that type of momentum used within Stargate later in the series.
Yeah, I think Stargate is a good blend of action and sci-fi.
Well,
it's not tonally like Next Gen. It has fucking...
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, well, it is its own thing. The whole, and I've said this before, the whole military framework with the science fiction thing, which isn't shoehorned in. It's blended very
part of the narrative.
Blended very well, and it's actually very, I guess, sort of realistic that you're doing the, you know, the military would be the one that handles like something like that.
Yeah, that's absolutely, works.
Okay, so that's not possible. I didn't come back with you guys. What the hell is that thing?
So I think this episode does a good job of ramping up at the end with the idea of the radiation leaching out of this alien and the electricity and all that. At good stakes and rose to a good level climax. But there's a moment where the alien becomes Charlie, right? And I'm not a clinical psychologist, but I think that would do more harm than good. Like seeing your dead son physically again. Like, he comes out to Sarah and O'Neill's like, it's not Charlie. But it's just like, she's trying to move on and get past that death. And then here's Charlie again.
Here's Charlie!
But it's not Charlie.
Jack and Sarah just like in the fetal position on the ground, rocking backwards.
Yeah, I imagine that would like regress your progression to move on from that point.
Sarah.
Oh my God.
It's not Charlie.
But the alien, I don't know. Maybe he's a clinical psychologist. And this will help. Because you get the taste of your son, right? And you're like, can we do something? Can we do more? And like, no, I gotta go now.
I'm gonna explore.
And then he goes, and you can sing at home like, oh, why didn't I say this? Why didn't I do this? I want to see more of him. He was right there. We're seeing him again.
Sarah shoots herself in a gun. It's just like fucking it makes things way worse. I think with trauma, there is a thing like confronting the trauma, sort of thing, and reliving it. That's trying to deal with it and getting closure, I guess. Yeah, you get to say goodbye to your son.
That's the thing.
But yeah, it's certainly kind of handled a bit ham-fistedly.
Here's your son, don't touch him, he's leaching radiation.
Right.
I'm pretty sure she does touch him too. Dies of radiation poisoning later on. Goes home, her hair's
well, we never see her again. I don't think we even like talk about her again. Like that's it.
That's
never
it.
See her.
She's gone.
Yeah, well, Carter's a replacement for Sarah now. They got like the same haircut and stuff, so it's really funny.
Sarah.
I like to imagine that the whole Charlie's plot side of the plot is actually a lot more malevolent than it actually is. Where like for instance, Jack, everybody's just pretending like that Jack's acting normally because they're afraid.
It would have been interesting if it had had a darker twist. It started getting a bit psychotic.
Yeah, a bit psychotic.
Picked up a knife and stuff while he was talking to Sarah.
Well, it gets you can imagine that they just replace the music with like
Hitchcock psycho type stuff.
And it would actually fit probably.
And I would prefer that music much more than cliched minor scales playing on a fucking piano.
The alien gets the idea that what it needs to do to get rid of the trauma is get rid of all the people that are the trauma.
This is Jack's pain. I must get rid of all of his pain. Beats the shit out of the stepdad. Throws him down the stairs.
No. They got like the eye gouge.
Burns Charlie's room.
What are you doing? Gasoline.
That would have been more interesting. Or are we just horrible people? Did some people get some emotional fulfillment out of this episode?
I think that it's certainly better than like a surface level emotional twinges to it. I think it's definitely deeper than what say the music cues would suggest. I think it's just it's also representative of 90s sort of thing.
That's true too.
Again, it's not it's when you hold it against the Black Ops again exploration of Jack's backstory. I wonder whether or not Richard Dean Anderson sort of didn't again just wanted to get it out of the way as you said.
From the interview that I remember, I think that was pretty much it.
The Jack O'Neill of the feature film that Kurt Russell portrayed went into a dark place, and his adventure with Daniel Jackson brought him out of it again.
Kurt did a phenomenal job for that O'Neill and that movie, and you can get away with it in just a one-movie character arc. But for Rick to be interested in doing a long-running series, he has to have a much broader range for it to be interesting to him.
Just remember, I retired. You wanted me back. Kurt Russell is just, you know, he's a phenomenal guy, and he did a great job with it, with the character. And but I knew just by looking at his hair that I couldn't do that. I mean, who can do that with their hair? The type of humor that I appreciate most is mostly British humor, but my favorite show on television is The Simpsons, and partially because it is just it's a cartoon, first of all, but it's also smart.
Maybe it's kind of like he kind of phoned it in. It's sort of like
Well, he's not acting.
No, he's not. Well,
he's like deadpan, autistic, monotone.
Yeah, it's not a real character.
And in that emotional moment, what you want is the character to emote.
Yeah, to confront fucking trauma.
So it's a bit conflicting.
Well, it's like the Blade Runner. The monologue at the end that they
shoehorned in,
he's that monologue.
Me and Rachel, we just lived our lives happily ever after.
Drove into the sunset
in this serenic, nature landscape, which we haven't seen in the entire
Canadian pine forest.
Yeah.
Gaff had been there and let her live. 4 years, he figured. He was wrong. Tyrell had told me Rachel was special. No termination date.
So yeah, it just kind of finishes. If the tension rises and he's shooting off electricity and radiating, and then Carter checks the Geiger meter and she's like, oh, he's not that radioactive anymore.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem anymore.
Yeah.
It's all urgency's gone.
He sees Sarah, they have a little moment, and then Jack just walks in through the Stargate. Says like, keep the lights on for me or something?
Keep the lights on. I'll be back.
So that line just seemed really out of place to me. He's like holding the alien kid's hand. He's
just
not his son.
Kicking through the fucking Stargate. Oh, thank God we're done with that. Considering how dangerous, they were all panicking and stuff.
Yeah.
Now they don't really know what's going on.
Yeah. And then Jack just takes him to the Stargate and says goodbye, I guess.
Well, again, if we were like 4 or 5 seasons in, they'd be paranoid as hell, right?
Yeah.
They'd be like super paranoid, and they would
shoot the kid.
Yeah, shoot the kid, and there'd be all the government like stuff coming into it, like the
politics.
All the politics coming in. Oh, well, we can't let him go back through. He's got secrets. And, all that sort of stuff, and that just kind of just gets pushed to the side. The normal things that we expect. Yeah,
it gets wrapped up really quickly. So overall, in conclusion, I guess it's a good episode.
Yeah.
Some elements dragged it down, some episodes brought it back up.
It's above average.
Yeah, it wouldn't be in the top 60 episodes.
Again, I really prefer if the crystal plot was the entire plot.
And the emotional stuff was executed better.
Yeah, well, you've got these two plots, and they're very counter to each other.
Yeah, that can work though.
It does work, but it didn't work.
Yeah,
that's what I say. Is I'm more interested in one thing.
Yeah, I think that the subplot worked, and then the emotional stuff for us didn't work because we're cynical assholes. There'd be some person out there like, oh my god, it was so fulfilling. And you were just like, oh man, they should have shown the kid in the ambulance after he shot himself.
They should have shown
shooting and stuff.
Ideal should have gone on a murderous rampage
and stabbed Sarah to death. There's no room for emotion in my media. I'm a man. I'm a man.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, thank you for watching. Really about, like, subscribe, comment, whatever, man.
That's it.
That's it.
Keep the lights on. I'll be back.